Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Katrina. I'm a fourth year social work student at Ryerson University. I'm currently completing my placement practicum with the organization For a Safer Space. So today I'll be doing my fourth book club on the book Sister Outsider, Essays and Speeches by Audre Lorde. If you are new here, definitely check out the past 3 book clubs that we have done on this book so that you are all caught up. So I've included the table of contents here, and what I did was I bolded the next 3 chapters that we'll be talking about. So again, if you are new and you want to be all caught up, definitely check out the past 3 videos so that you can be in our discussion from the past couple essays that we talked about. So the first essay we'll be talking about is an interview, Audre Lorde and Adrienne Rich. The main themes that I pulled out is power of language and racism. This essay focuses on an extensive interview Lorde has with fellow feminist Adrienne Rich. Lorde discusses her experiences as a teacher and her relationship with language. Lorde shares a couple anecdotes, but one that stands out is about her time in Mexico when she felt she was unable to capture the beauty of Mexico into words. Lorde explains that she began to write poetry to express her thoughts and feelings when she wasn't able to find poems that expressed those same things. To Lorde, poetry is her language. In another anecdote about her time teaching in New York, Lorde discusses the ideas of Black teachers having to adapt how they teach in their language in predominantly white schools. The focus of this interview consists of anecdotes and Lorde's connection to language through poetry. So I've pulled out a quote from this essay. It goes as follows. There were so many complex emotions for which poems did not exist. I had to find a secret way to express my feelings. By Audre Lorde, found on page 84. The next essay we'll be talking about is The Master's Tools Will Never Dismantle the Master's House. The main themes of this essay that I've pulled out are feminism and racism. This essay is based on Lorde's experiences speaking at a feminist conference at New York University. Lorde, among other Black feminists and lesbian feminists, find that they are limited to speaking at a specific panel about differences among women. Throughout the essay, Lorde talks about how we need to accept these differences as a strength and that it builds us up as a community. She argues that seeing difference as a strength is a perspective that academics often reject. She ends off the essay by asking why it is that Black feminists must spend their time educating white feminists when it is their duty as well to learn about class, race, and sexuality. So another quote that I pulled from this essay goes as follows. Now we hear that it is the task of women of color to educate white women. In the face of tremendous resistance as to our existence, our differences, our relative roles, and our joint survival. This is a diversion of energies and a tragic repetition of racist patriarchal thought, said by Audre Lorde on page 113. So it just goes back to that last point that I made from the last essay about how Black women feel that it is now their job to educate when it's not. It is the job of white women or other folks to make sure that they are educating themselves on the issues that are going on that not only goes beyond what impacts them, but what impacts, other women, because you can't look at feminism. Lorde argues that you can't look at feminism through just the lens of, one particular experience or one particular person. So for instance, white women can't just see their own problems and call it feminism. They need to look at the experiences of women of color, of Black women, and see how those differences vary and use feminism to combat all of these issues and barriers that all women face. So the last chapter, or the last essay we'll be talking about is Age, Race, Class, and Sex, Women Redefining Difference. The main theme from this essay is intersectionality. This essay focused on the binaries that divide us, whether that is of the oppressor/oppressed or men versus women. Binaries are things that separate us, so it's night and day. So it's, like I said, men or women, oppressor or oppressed. It's 2 groups, there's no in between. Lorde argues that difference is not what divides us, rather trying to get rid of differences is. She also talks about race, class, and racial differences and the dangers of white feminists not being able to understand those differences. This essay has an intersectional approach as it looks at the complexities women face as a whole But looking within the Black community, she discusses the homophobia that Black lesbians face as well. So what's really nice about this essay is it has that intersectional approach. It looks at women. It looks at women of color. It looks within a specific group, so Black women, and it looks at Black lesbians and the different oppressions that they face. And I think it's really important, again, as we talked about from the last essay, we can't just look at everything black and white. We have to look at the experiences of other women, of other groups, of other racial groups, to make sure that we're learning and we're trying to understand what is happening, so that when we talk about feminism, we are talking about it as a whole and not just through one perspective or experience. So, one key quote that I pulled from this essay goes as follows: ignoring the differences of race between women and the implications of those differences presents the most serious threat to the mobilization of women's joint power. Said by Audre Lorde on page 117. All right, so that concludes our 4th book club. I will see everybody next week for our next book club, and we'll be discussing the next 3 chapters. Thank you again for listening. Bye, everyone.